Is she still the world record?
No, nope. When you started to age out after commercial fishing throughout the Mississippi,
Caught on a 14-foot Shakespeare rod, a real 20-pound line, 20-minute battle. He was on the bank, 121-pound, largest blue cat ever. That's the mount, and that's her skeleton. She lived here for a long time.
That's the replica of the state, isn't it? Because they had two made. I have the other one.
So how many of those got bumped out of here in the last 2 years?
one.
Just one?
Wow.
That one up in the middle there, Brody Davis, is the first one not from Lake Fork.
Really?
That's the first top 10 lunker. It's not the top 10 biggest bass. There's a couple in there, you know, that weren't turned into the program in the top 10. But these are the top 10 share lunkers.
Texas State records.
Back in the old days, if you turned one in, no one really knew. But now on the internet, you know, everything happens instantaneously. That's the risky run reporting anything you do. I don't think it's not as big as.
Those are called a Lake Echo, which is just about 8 miles down the road on 317. Got it. Okay. So there's a lot of history wrapped up in this. A lot of cool stuff. So first off, they're skin mounts. This was 1980, 81, right? 81. Yeah, January 81, February 81. So these were back-to-back state records within a month by the same guy. That's a cool story alone.
Right.
Skin mounts talks a lot about the fact that when ShareLunker started 5 years later, replicas weren't of high quality, and you didn't have, you know, you did skin mounts. So fish like this weren't put back. So guys like Lake Fork Taxidermy that make tremendous mounts really helped to support bass conservation, because people would go, I don't want a skin mount, I just want a replica because it's even better quality and we can put that back. So now you started seeing a lot of these big bass get put back again. I'm going to tell you a couple other things. These are some of the first Florida bass. Look, 81. This is 9 years after we stocked our first Florida bass in the state. These were some of the first Floridas ever stocked in the state.
Why would they have gone to Echo?
Well, first off, this was prior to the moratorium on us stocking private waters. So we actually could. So these are some of the first Floridas ever stocked in Texas, and some of the last fish that we could ever stock in private waters. Those two went together. Now, I'll tell you, I talked to the attorney because he ended up being the one doing my deed. And he said basically we had a surplus. Some of our biologists didn't request them. They wanted northerns because they hadn't really tested them, weren't really sure about Floridas over here. And so we produced more than we needed. So he was looking for a home for them. They happened to know each other. He had a lake, so they put them in there. That's conjecture. That's the best
sense.
I can tell. It makes perfect sense to me. And it was at the Tyler hatchery. It wasn't at this hatchery. It was at the Tyler Fish Hatchery at the time before this was built.
These are doubles.
So this is there's a lot of history wrapped up in here. Some of the first Floridas, some of the last fish ever stocked in private waters, back-to-back state records, the difference between skin mounts and replica mounts. And now you're looking at 2 state records that 40 years later, with progressive bass regulations, with the catch and release ethic, which was actually a major objective of ShareLunker at the beginning that folks don't realize because we take it for granted now. And now these 2 fish are not top 50 fish. They're not even 2 top 50 biggest bass in the state. So you can't tell me that your fishing license dollars and people like Ed Cox, when he was chairman of our commission, working his tail off to help with these progressive regulations, and your biologist work and your hatchery work, your management work, it's not doing any good. The ShareLunker's not doing any good because here's where we were.
You can just look at us versus other states and you can tell it works.
So,
right?
Anyway, I love that. By the way, we just gave him 2 replica mounts that are officially ours. We're going to recognize him in ShareLunker next week. That's cool.
It was a sweet ride in its day, baby.
You fish at Athens all the time. You're one of the originals. So, did you see that Budweiser pond? They were in imminent danger of failure. So, imminent danger. They dated one. Still trying to get pregnant. It's about trying to help connect people more to what they're seeing, to where they live, so they can enjoy these resources after they leave here. So we anticipate there's going to be a lot of QR codes and stuff they can scan. We're kind of fine with that.
All right, here's where we're going.
No, tank 9 here, this is where the 17 pounder was. She's out here spawning right now.
So you hold them here and they spawn somewhere else?
Right, so when we get a call, the lucky truck will go out, take the fish up, and come right back here. We have a cart over there with the cooler that we're putting, we're swapping water, we're putting water, make sure we have the right temperature, and we put MS222 in there and anesthetize them. Then if they need to be fizzed, we'll fizz them. We do any treatments, any scrapes, we make notes of any wounds, where the hook marks are, any other issues that we might see with the fish, if they have any just marks or cuts or tears or abrasions, those sort of things. We take track of all of that. We also go ahead and check them to see if they have a pit tag in them. So immediately if they're a recapture, we'll know that with our passive integrated transponder tag. We raise a wand over them and it'll give us a number back. If they don't have one, we
So all fish that get released have one?
Every single one that comes in here gets checked. If it doesn't have one, we put one in. And so we'll inject the tag in her so we can do that quickly. We'll also take a genetic sample, a pin clip, for analysis. Then she gets her own tank. So they get their own tank. So you see on top, I mean, it's just trash bags, but it's cut so that you have, cloud cover. You see hanging up there, those are PVC pipes with cut trash bags. So those float up and it's like grass. So she goes and sits down in that grass. Of course, it's put over because they can get pretty aggressive when chasing food. So we lock them in there as well.
Because obviously there's one in that tank?
Uh-huh.
What is in there, number 14?
Giant bass.
645. Yeah. Let's show under 645.
You know how big she is?
Off the top of my head right now. Damn, man.
Can you see her?
Back in the middle of all that grass.
Can you see her?
We spawn these fish. You'll see out there, they spawn on a mat. And then we bring them in here and we remove the eggs and we put them in a hatching jar, kind of like how we do a striper. But generally, when we're just doing our normal production fish, we spawn them on the mat and then we hang the mats up in a vat out there. And I'll show you there. There could actually be some fry inside the building. I'm not sure.
It's a big old fish, man.
What's up? She is like, leave me alone.
I have questions.
Why are you messing with me?
They passed it?
She's just chillaxing.
This is the next group of Lone Stars that's going to get spawned.
Okay.
Some of these have already spawned. They pulled the mats and separated them again. So once they harvest the ponds, they'll bring it, or when they're getting ready to start harvesting, they'll drop the mats, pull the dividers, and do their next round of spawning.
So do they have to be in the sun to spawn? No, they'll spawn in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys want some cereal?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Mats and put them down in there for them to spawn on.
That's cool.
So like
Super
when
cool.
we're just doing like these normal Lone Stars, they'll spawn on the mat. We'll come in and check them every day. If there's eggs on there, we'll take the mat out of the tank, we'll put it in a tray filled with water, and then we'll bring them back to the troughs down there, and then we just hang it like that, or probably this one like that, just kind of at an angle. There'll be a wire stretched across the top, and then over the next 3 to 4 days, depending upon temperature, they'll start to hatch, fall to the bottom, and you'll see, it looks like this little puddle of yellow. You can just mostly see their yolk sac, and they're just all spread out along the bottom. And then over the next 7 days, they slowly develop and they start to swim. And then when they start to swim up, we know they're ready to go outside. We'll partially cover the trough, put a lamp down at one end of them, like overnight, and all the fry will be attracted to that light. And it's easier to crowd them up. And then we weigh them out. We know there's about 275 fry per gram. And we're generally stocking between 150 and 200,000 fry per pond, per acre. This is,
What attracts them to that to spawn on it?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. You know, what happens is, like, you sit this mat down in there and stuff will start to kind of grow on and get a little funky.
Mhm.
And that male will want to find a place where he can clear it out. And that's kind of like what attracts the female. And he'll see.
There's also a texture difference
Yeah.
from everything
Yeah,
else they're
sure.
around.
Let's, when you come down here, it'll make a little more sense too. We actually kind of put them what we call a spondo. Because bass are territorial, we kind of create this little spot for them to be able to stake out a
Right.
territory and then not see each other. Because sometimes, especially in the racers, we have a lot of fish. Not with the shearlunker, it's not that big a deal because we pair them up individually, or just 2 fish per spawning area. You know, if they can see each other, especially smallmouth too, are so territorial, they'll spend their time fighting instead of mating. They won't actually start guard a mat. Here you go.
Ugh.
Oh,
Jeez.
hello.
And that little guy will get the job done, but you wonder if she got hungry.
Yeah.
Just eat it.
So is that a 13 plus?
Oh yeah, these are all
That is a different
shearlunkers that were collected
class
this
of
season.
fish right there.
Oh, here we go. 633. Is that right?
Yep.
That is really that one's a
So
big
I don't know
one.
who caught 633 shearlunker, but there's your girl. spawning. Check her out.
Well, if he's out there and swimming around in circles, nothing's going to happen. He has to pick a spot, start guarding it, and then that female will come to him.
Okay.
634. There's your baby girl.
Man, oh man, that's a big fish.
Yeah.
Look how wide they are across their head.
So somebody turned the music on and I wasn't paying attention and it kind of messed up my audio from here, but there were a bunch of fish in here. So this is shearlunker number 650, a 1308, called by Kevin Winchester, a Texas angler. You're going to see here pretty common, OHIB, OHIB, OHIB. It's just amazing to see these fish and to know that they're all coming from the same family tree, right? This is 649. A guy from Kansas caught this fish. Another 13 and a half, 1364. I do wish you could capture the audio. We captured the audio from the three of us walking up on this tank. So we just looked at a bunch of 13-pound fish. When we walked up to this tank, we were all like, oh my gosh. That's a 17-pound largemouth sitting right there. That's a 2-foot-long mat. That fish, that male is over 3 pounds, and she just absolutely dwarfs him. That fish right there was worth the trip over there. That's Jason Kahn's fish, also out of OHIB. And then there's I guess a singles bar at the end where there's a whole bunch of boys piled up. And I filmed this because it was crazy to watch them go from end of the tank to the end of the tank and how much water they moved. They literally created a wave in the tank as they would move from end to end. I think you can see it right there. Look at the surface of the water, how much water they're moving right there. So, and then down at the last one, there's 2 legacy class in there together. They're both 13-pounders. There's shearlunker 646. A lady out of New Mexico caught that fish. And then 643, a 13-pounder. All these fish are Ivy fish, also caught over there earlier this year. So just an amazing fun day for me over there. All right, so I'm about to voice over some of that. As y'all saw, we had music playing in the background. I don't know that Toto is the perfect spawning music, but this place is fascinating. I can confidently say that I came to Lake Athens today and saw over a dozen fish over 13 pounds spawning. Now, I'm not allowed to fish for any of those fish, but this is a neat place. So they told me today they're doing a big remodel this fall. Actually, they're going to close down, and I believe he said August, for a year. So if you want to check it out as it is, you need to get the kids out here sometime this summer and check it out. I'm going to bring the boys over here actually pretty dang soon so they can check it out. But it is, there's a reason Texas is churning out the fish it's churning out. There's a lot of money and effort and time spent over here. And I'm happy to be a part of it with the Freshwater Fisheries Advisory Committee. So thank you, Park and Wildlife, for having the confidence in me to appoint me to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll have some more videos up for y'all. Hopefully we'll be back to fishing here in about a week. We'll see y'all soon, guys.